People always ask how I balance my family life with 400 shows a year. I'm just doing what I love with the people I love. It's my magic life.
I like Wes Iseli. I like everything about him.
All right, guys, we're back. And this week we have an actress, a prop maker, a movie makeup special effects artist, and so much more. Everybody, it's Lisa Barrett-Brown. What's happening? How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Yeah, I'm having a great life, getting to do what I love to do.
Lee, you do have an amazing life. I'm following you and David on social media, and I just see you guys gallivanting all around the world. So I want to apologize to you. I almost went over this with you to tell me what I should say, Natalie.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, because I want to apologize.
Uh-oh.
I just saw you. This is me, and I'm apologizing publicly to the world. I saw you as arm candy for David.
Oh.
I hope I was polite to you.
I guess I'm flattered.
I was always nice, pretty lady on this famous guy's arm, and he just shaking hands, meeting, and you guys both flow through social events like just movie stars, and it's like, wow. So I found out through Ray and through David, no, you got to have her on the podcast. She's awesome. So I apologize. I'm going through life missing stuff because I'm just categorizing people, reading judging the book by the cover.
Uh-huh.
I'm awful. I'm awful, Lisa. God bless you. I want to know more about you.
I'm just flattered that you would consider me pretty enough to be arm candy, so that's a win for me.
And then I'm seeing you in the F1 stuff and the Milan fashion shows, and you're just posing in fashion gowns, and wow. All right, let's get into it.
I love a good opportunity to dress up. I don't get to do it very often because I'm usually sort of arm deep in paint or clay or resin or something. So it's great to have an opportunity to put on my finery.
Okay, so I'm magic crazy, right?
I see that.
Before I was magic crazy, it was a mix. I wanted to do movie makeup special effects myself. I was all signed in to do Artistitude. I took advanced art classes in high school, art classes in college, while studying marketing. But Terminator 2 came out when I was in high school. And that just changed everything for me. Because I'm like, I see the writing on the wall. It's all going to be CGI. There isn't going to be movie makeup special effects in the future. I'm trying to find a career goal. And I'm scared. And I'm like, well, I guess I'll go to business school for marketing to try to promote myself as a magician. And I just went that route. But I mean, I was studying, Lisa. These are my babies from over 30 years ago. All my VHS tapes.
I see.
I mean, I studied these things, how to make the masks move, to put electronics in the masks.
Yeah.
Dick Smith.
Animatronics.
And I learned, I loved this tape here, if you can see it's glaring, but it was Tom Savini. And it was,
yes, I've worked with him many times.
Have you really? He's my favorite. Yeah. He's my favorite. So
yeah, he's great.
A lot of people say Dick Smith, but I say I like, Dick Smith is somewhere in a whole nother class. But Tom Savini is like, I love that guy. So, yeah. All right, so I geeked out. Now it's time for you. So tell me your beginnings. Like your dad was in this business, right?
My beginning, well, yes. So I started with both acting and art. So my mother's an artist, still is a phenomenal artist. My dad is actually an engineer and inventor that kind of went into mask making and prop making and eventually obviously into costuming. So I've been acting since I was knee high to a grasshopper. And in fact, both my parents acted as well. But my dad, he's like myself, loves to experiment with things. And he was experimenting with liquid latex. And he developed a method of making a sheet fabric that could be sewn and cut into, patterns out of latex that he would texturize and colorize. And he actually started producing this latex fabric for the clothing industry. And Bob Ringwood, who was the costume designer for the Batman movies, had met with the director and everything, and they wanted to create a look for Batman where instead of it looking like he was just wearing a suit, they wanted it to be like it was a second skin. So very, very much like actually bat skin, how it's textured. And my dad, a long time ago, had an advert, a really tiny advert in a magazine called Skin 2, that he had not realized has been continued. Just they never took it out. He hadn't been paying for it. They just continued to run it for, I don't know, a couple of years. And one of the wardrobe assistants happened to be walking past a newsstand in London, saw this magazine article, and they'd just been talking about wanting Batman to have a second skin. And there's this magazine called Skin 2. So he opens it up, finds my dad's ad, and gives him a call and says, hey, tell me more about, what you can do. And once he showed them what he could do with the latex, it kind of went on from there. And he ended up doing the first three Batman movies. And he ended up doing the Batcave and a lot of the costuming. And he also did Catwoman's costume, which there's a fun story about that too. I'll share. And part of Dan DeVito's Penguin costume as well.
So when you say the Batmans, this is for the younger listeners. This is Batman '89. Danny DeVito.
Yes, with Michael Keaton. So Michael Keaton was Batman in the first two movies, and then Val Kilmer in the third. So he worked with all three of both of them on those three movies. The first. Sorry, go ahead.
I own all those movies. Who was Catwoman? Is that Michelle Pfeiffer in those?
Michelle Pfeiffer was Catwoman.
Yeah, wow.
But originally it was going to be Annette Bening, and I believe she got pregnant and couldn't fulfill the role, so they then cast it. But my dad had already created a costume for Annette Bening without stitches. It was just like the latex cat suit, and I ended up wearing that in another movie.
Wow,
very cool.
Yeah, what movie are you wearing? Is it Annette Bening's?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's her body that they made the costume for, but I ended up wearing it. It was we're actually kind of skipping along a little bit, but it was the first Hollywood movie that I ever did, and at the time we filmed it, it was called Screenplay. It had Courtney Gaines from Children of the Corn and Memphis Belle and The Burbs, and I ended up stumbling into the role because I was just an extra in it. And the woman who played kind of the lead villainess had this big melodramatic fight with the director, and it was one of those Hollywood things you actually normally see in the movie. They had this great big fight. She goes to walk off set. He's like, "You'll never work in this town again," fires her on the spot. But it was a night shoot at a horse ranch, and a very, very expensive setup, and they couldn't afford to just scrap the shoot, so they held auditions right there and then and cast me in the role. So that was a trip because I was 19 and playing a dominatrix in a horror movie.
Wow. So what was the name? What was the final name? You said it was called that.
So, okay, yeah, so this is the crazy part. So it was called Screenplay, but once they wrapped, something happened where a lot of the footage got damaged and there wasn't enough to actually make a movie at it. And all of the actors and actors had gone on to do other projects and so on and so forth. And the movie actually ended up taking over 20 years to finalize. And over that period of time, technology had moved along and they were able to remaster a lot of it. They pulled us all back into the studio and we had to overdub our original vocals on it. And that was a trip. But there was actually a documentary made about the movie that came out before the movie came out.
Oh, wow.
But it's called Discipline. So it was released in the name of Discipline. So yeah. So
I'm gonna look it up.
It's a crazy movie.
Wow. All right. So going back, I'm skipping around because you gave me that nugget. Then you said you dressed as Catwoman. Then we went down.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry. I was just following the Catwoman.
No. It's all good. Yeah. So I actually, like I say, I grew up with acting. I grew up with art. Went to art college. But because I'd done so much theater acting growing up, I ended up turning professional as a teenager and touring the UK. With a company called Cloak and Dagger, doing murder mystery evenings, weekends, that kind of stuff. But because my dad had got the job working on the costume for Batman, the first Batman movie was filmed in Pinewood Studios in England. So at the age of, I think I was like 15, 16, I got to be on set and walk the streets of Gotham City. And I got to watch the scene at the Flugelheim Museum, where they're splashing all the paint around, and the Joker's there with his cronies. And I'm sitting there watching this, and I was actually stitching carbon fiber rods into the Batcape. And they wrap the scene, the bells go off, everyone kind of goes to leave the sound studio. And I'm coming behind a flat, and Jack Nicholson were coming the other way, and we all but crashed into one another. And he says, "Well, hello there, little lady," and he's full Joker smile, and because I'm a teenager and I'm starstruck, so I just like I didn't know what to say.
Wow.
But that whole experience made me fall in love with film, and I knew right there that's kind of where I wanted to go with that. Um, but like I say, I was in art college. I was always very good at art. I had a love of art. So those two things kind of became my two passions, and they're like the scales of justice. It's like one day I'm leaning more towards the acting side, one day I'm leaning more towards the art. And of course, my dad was a prop maker, so I got a lot of my skill set from him for doing that.
So tell me about the props that you've made. I know you've done some work for Ray Lum for the Fool Us episode, but I mean, what do you work with props? I mean, are you doing the electronics and the things? Are you doing?
I don't personally do the electronics. I would love to actually do more with that, but I can do all of the pieces and parts that go around the electronics. So I can do all of the hard resin pieces that need to be created to form, like, let's say it's a head, to form all of the skull. And, I usually work with whoever's doing the animatronics to formulate the exact shape and size and the cutouts where everything needs to be. And then I could also create the silicone skin that goes on top of that. I can do the eyeballs and things like that. Just depends on what the client needs. But I prefer to work in silicone for that kind of stuff just because it's incredibly stretchy. It's very durable. It lasts a lot longer than latex. Latex used to be, the standard. And latex is cheaper. It's faster and easier to work with. You just slush it around a stone mold. You're good to go. Silicone requires a lot more prep work to it, but you get a fantastic result with silicone. I love it.
Do you have any tips to keep my Halloween masks not from rotting with latex? What would you put on it?
First of all, keep it out of the sun because
Yeah.
the sunlight will wither it. There are products that you can get that you can actually paint on top of the latex that will help preserve it. And I apologize, off the top of my head, I can't think of the name because it's not a product that I use very often.
Yeah.
But I could get you resources for that if you need it.
All my old Halloween masks start rotting, and it's like, oh, and they're just in my garage, so it's in temperature controlled, but
Yeah,
they still don't last.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So latex, when I was growing up, you got it at Halloween at Walmart, and you got 12 ounces if you're lucky. So I had to make it last all year long to play and experiment with. There wasn't Amazon. It wasn't like I could, and I didn't need a 5-gallon bucket because my movie makeup special effects magazine, Fangora, sold 5-gallon buckets. I don't need that.
Yep.
But I
Yep.
was stuck somewhere in the middle, just waiting for Halloween or, yeah. Oh, man. Did you ever see the Horror Hall of Fame that came out? I think it was like Fox back in the 90s. It came out like 4 years in a row.
I'm not sure if I did. I may have caught it, but I don't know. It was a while ago.
Steve Johnson and Liana, famous special effects makeup artist, and his wife, who's also a scream queen. But they
Yeah.
would come on there and do special makeup, like teach you stuff you could do at home. And one of the things they taught, which was easy for me that I could get the props for, was Knox gelatin, and then just on that. And that was my Halloween go-to. I thought I was special makeup effects at 12 years old. I thought I was the man. Yeah, that's the stuff I was into. Wow. All right. So,
There's all kinds of fun tips and tricks that you can do to create Halloween effects, on a budget. Even taking the cotton balls and dipping it in latex and stringing it out, you can like smear it across your face and do all kinds of fun burns and things like that with it.
I
Yeah.
was doing latex scars and putting safety pins in them. Yeah, all kinds of stuff. Yep. So one of the things I did for one of my first gigs away from home, I was at a farm, and I was like special effects, nowhere near your level, but at home special makeup effects. But I did needle through arm. I had my nipples pierced, which was safety pins that I magic tricked up.
Yeah.
So my belly button, my nipples, my ears, my nose, my eyebrows. Piercings at the beach can be so expensive. I'll do it for free. And I'm trying to scare all these people. But I was also the manager of an event next to me, which was a black art of a lady getting decapitated
Oh, okay.
in a wedding dress. And I was trying to watch these high school kids to make sure they did my scene well. So this was mobile. I could eat fire and do this and watch them. at this thing. So I thought that was fun. That was one of my highlights from being a kid. So going back from Batman, I'm so excited. Can you tell?
Yeah.
I'm all over the place.
You are all over the place.
So going back, I wanted to do this for a living. I wanted to do movie makeup, special makeup effects. So after Batman, what happened after that?
So like I said, so I ended up doing this other movie, and I met someone on that movie and ended up moving over to originally to Pennsylvania. But I kind of put my life and like my acting and everything kind of on hold because I did the family thing, you know, and I raised 2 kids, but I still pursued the art because that was something I could still do and raise families. So I actually became an art teacher. And I was an art teacher for 11 years, which is it's a difficult job when you're a teacher, but it's amazingly you get a lot of satisfaction out of it. You know, I would have kids running up to me, you know, at the mall and they go like all excited to see me. And then one time I actually had a parent come up to me and said, you know, when you have that special teacher that changes a child's life and makes an impact on their life, she said, you are that teacher for my daughter. And that was, yeah, that was just incredible. But
was this school? Was this high school art teacher?
This was kindergarten to 8th grade. I actually taught at 2 Catholic schools. And they actually, because they knew me in the community, and they knew the level of art, because I used to create paintings and drawings for them all the time for their fundraisers and things. So they knew the level of art that skill that I had as an artist. They knew me in the community, which is a requirement when you teach at a Catholic school. And they knew me as being able to work well with children because I volunteered a lot, and you know I was also with Cub Scouts and Brownies and so on and so forth. So they actually petitioned the Diocese of Erie to allow me to teach there, even though I didn't have a teaching certificate. And there's a small percentage of teachers at those Catholic schools that will allow you to do that, and so that's what they did. So even though I didn't have a teaching certificate, and I still had to do the Act 34 clearances and that kind of stuff. But I love doing that. That was great. So that was my day job, and then by night I was creating masks and creating props and and selling them on eBay and things like that. And it was mostly just sort of one-off stuff. But we started to create the Jason Voorhees hockey masks, and I am meticulous when it comes to detail. So I would be taking still shots in the movies and zooming in and marking where every single little scratch was. And the little red symbol that is on every hockey man is different for every single movie. So I'd make sure the measurement was exactly right, the proportions had to be right. I was obsessive. And because of that, we got a lot of people wanting them. And then we started to offer the masks for underneath. And then we got a cease and desist.
Oh
man!
I guess it was too good. It would capture the attention of some people, and we were told, no, you can't do it. And that's when I first learned about because I didn't know anything about licensing and stuff back then. But I learned pretty quickly about licensing, and so I don't do that anymore.
All right, so I'm gonna take reins again. I just drank an energy drink before this, Lisa. I did admit that to you beforehand. I'm so excited.
3 cups of coffee today, so you're good.
So I worked with Jason Voorhees and Gunnar Hansen, Leatherface, and Kane Hodder at that farm that I was telling you about. So they were both there to sign autographs and take pictures and things. And then we go out to bars on nights off to advertise. And Kane Hodder, if you know who he is, if you've met him, you've probably
I know him. I'll tell you a story after.
Oh, okay. Well, he was doing 100 on the interstate on his motorcycle, and we couldn't keep up with him. And he was like, a stunt man, and he was living that lifestyle back then. This is early 2000s. And at the bar, all he wanted to do was dance with girls and meet the girls. And Gunnar Hansen sitting back with me and him are in a booth. I start doing magic, and all these girls surround us. And Gunnar's Kane's so hard. I just need you, man. So he's like, he just loved me because I brought the girls to us because I was doing magic. So that was my Gunnar Hansen, Kane Hodder story. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. No, I had met him several times, the various different horror conventions and so on and so forth. And he actually has a couple of the masks that I did. But at one point I was pregnant out to here with my first child, and he said, if that's a boy, you have to name him Kane. Well, came out as a girl, so she was Kimberly, but still Kane.
That's funny. That's funny.
Aw.
Yeah. That was the first time I ever saw the kill on someone. I never saw a tattoo on someone's lip. He pulls it down, and he's got kill written in his lip.
Yeah.
All right, so get back to you. All right, sorry, I've taken this thing enough. Sorry.
Back to me. Where are we? Oh, yeah. So then my life kind of takes a turn around about 2013. Got an opportunity because we created a full-size Jason Voorhees for DJ Ashba, who was Guns N' Roses and 6 a.m. if you know who he is, the guitarist. He'd called one day, and it was like a surprise call. I'm like, you need to answer that call. So we did that for him, and someone that was one of the creative directors at Cirque du Soleil had been visiting DJ, saw it and said, "Oh wow, that's amazing. Where'd you get that done?" And DJ, being ever quick thinking, said, "Oh well, actually, my company makes those." And he's like, "Really?" He's like, "Well, we might want to have you do some like Cirque du Soleil characters." "Oh yeah," he says. So then he calls us up and says, "You guys want to move to Las Vegas?" Why? He's like, "Well, we might have an awful lot of work for you." So gathered up the troops, gathered up the family, and out to Las Vegas we went. And I ended up working initially just freelancing for DJ, but then I ended up becoming the creative director of his company. So I got to do all manner of wild and crazy projects working for him, including building two 50-foot tall volcanoes that spewed out flames and smoke for a music festival called Lost Lands in Ohio.
Wow.
So that was probably the most challenging and certainly the largest project I've ever worked on.
And you had a warehouse to do this in. You didn't have to sculpt these outside in Ohio.
Yeah. Well, for every other project but that, we had a warehouse, but we actually did the volcanoes on site, on location, in the middle of the field, outside in Ohio. Yeah. It was crazy. Yeah. We worked with a company that we actually did this 2 years in a row because they only were going to use it 1 year and they wanted it to be temporary. So we worked with a company that did a truss understructure, and then we created the volcano skin that went around the outside of it. And then we had another company that used jet engines to create the fog that went up into the volcanoes. It was amazing.
Wow. You want to fix that light? Can you fix
I
that?
don't know.
Just hit the bottom button and then hit the yellow. Did it go out? Yeah, there. Something happened to our lighting. So, what about Cirque du Soleil? Did you do work for them as well? Did you end up making full size?
So we did a lot of figures for them. We did all four. We did 4 characters for the Love Show. We did a couple of characters for Car, and they were complete silicone figures. And then we did Spider Lady when Zakana, I think that's what it's called, was there in Vegas. That show's now closed down. Now they kind of tore the whole theater out and made it part of the convention center. Did some incredibly crazy stuff, but my first taste in magic was when we did a life-size Chris Angel. Because at the time, Chris Angel's show was at the Luxor, and it was I don't know what you say, owned by Cirque, but it was paired with Cirque.
Yeah.
So we created I want to say it was a 12-foot pyramid that was inside the lobby of the big pyramid of the Luxor, and then we had a life-size figure of Chris Angel floating on top.
Oh wow.
That is awesome.
That's very cool.
Are there pictures of that?
There are somewhere. I mean, I'm sure you could probably Google it.
I'm gonna have to find that.
It. I could probably get some to you at some point. I'm sure I've got some in the archives somewhere.
So when you said you were doing that work for Cirque, was that wearables or was that independent standing?
That was independent standing. So those were for like permanent displays. So
Yep.
like I think. I mean, I haven't looked. I think the car figures are probably still there. So they're actually, the 2 car figures are standing on the top of one of their columns that they have in the building, we created like a wraparound out of a fake fire resistant wood to match the wood of the ship in the show. And then there is an iron kind of cage that goes the whole way around it. And there's two car figures in that cage with bows and arrows, kind of as if they're going to shoot the people that are all walking down below. And some people walk around, they don't even see it, and then they look up and they're like,
You know, I bet I walked right past it. I've never seen a search show, but I've definitely seen the advertisements for Caw. But I'm going for magic shows, so I'm just walking by those. But man, that is awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah, Spider Lady, actually, she hung in a rope web. So obviously we created a spider web. And we didn't really know how we were going to do it to get it to mimic the rigging that was in the show, but still look like a spider web and be able to be anchored to, so their box office was glass. So we had to be able to anchor it to glass. And I ended up, because I love a good challenge. I love a good challenge. So I taught myself how to splice rope with a fid, like the cord rope, and created an entire web out of this black rope for her to hang in that was kind of attached to the glass. It looked really cool. I was so sad when they tore that down.
Yeah. Oh, wow. 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 I don't even know where to go. I looked at your IMDb and it had you in 5 episodes of Tanked, and I could not figure that out. Help me. You were creating props for them, I guess.
Creating props. So the first episode of Tank that Ashba was on, DJ got an aquarium put in his home. And they had done the stuff for that. And so DJ, ever being the quick thinking networker, was like, my company can do all these kind of things, and we can do this and we can do that. And I'm like, oh, really? Well, let's see what you guys can do. So they came down and they did a tour, and they invited us to do a tour of their facility as well. And we just started kind of talking about what we could do to work on together. And then they were discussing the fact that they had Steve Aoki coming on a show, and they wanted to do a dragon tank. And they're like, can you make us a dragon? I'm like, yeah, no problem at all. And I love dragons personally. So I'm like, yes, we have to have this job. I really, really, really want to make this dragon. So we ended up making a 3-headed dragon. That was, God, I can't remember the dimensions. I mean, it was massive. It was the size of a couch. And it was stunning. And Steve had this thing where, when we went to do the reveal, the initial reveal, not of the full thing, but of the sculpture that we were working on, he didn't want to do a walkthrough first. He didn't want to do a kind of rehearsal. He wanted to see it for the first time on camera. So he stayed out the building while the crew came in, and we set up the lights and the lav mics and all that kind of stuff. And I was kind of perched on top of the dragon, like sculpting the horns on the back of the head. And he came in, and his face just lit up with excitement. And he's like, wow. And I hopped down off because I was supposed to go over and shake his hand immediately. And he took my hand, and then he pulled me in, and he gives me this great big bear hug. And he's like, I love it, And then we went into, what we kind of planned to film for the show. But I do love it when clients get really excited about the stuff that I do.
Heck yeah. I love Tanked. I enjoyed that show.
Yeah.
So what other ones did you do? Any others I would know?
Yeah, so we did the one where DJ had one put in his clothing store, Ashby Clothing. He used to be at the Strat. So there was that one, and then I worked on a Christmas special. It was Atlantis. It was Brett versus Wade. It was Atlantis, and I think Wade's was like a New York themed one. So we made like a Statue of Liberty for that, and we made a lot of the actually all of the Atlantis pizzas. Let me see, there was a Mel's Diner one we worked on. I did one. I remember doing this really cool octagonal barn for one, but I don't remember what episode that was on, but because I only just did that one individual piece, we weren't part of like the main filming of the show. Shaquille O'Neal, I did a like a Sphinx for that one. Yeah,
I've seen that episode. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's done two of them. Okay. So I think this was the second one that he did, that I did that one for, and that was a ton of fun.
Wow. Wow. Very cool. You need like a coffee table book of all the work that you've done. Just
Yeah, right?
all the pieces.
This is so funny because Star is always telling me like you need to take photos, you need to take and I take a lot of like progress working photos. And then I'll do snap a few, but so many of them are for clients, particularly now that I'm working with magicians. I can't post them anywhere because of NDAs and privacy, whatever, and obviously that the exclusivity, I should say, of certain clients and certain magic props. So I can't post them. I can't do anything with them. I have all these amazing photographs, and I can show them to somebody sort of in person. I can't post them or publish them.
So I have a question. You might not be able to answer it, but I'm trying to, and I don't want to get you in trouble. So think about it before you answer it.
Okay.
It's public. If I wanted you to do a Jason Voorhees full standing for me, would you be able to do that, or you just can't put it on a website to sell them? Are you
So
do that?
so the licensing is kind of tricky. Uh, if you do a one-off individual piece and you individualize it, that's okay in most cases, not all cases. But what you cannot do is you cannot take someone's intellectual property rights, make it to sell and profit from it. If you wanted me to do something, I would want to do the right channels and look into it and actually get permission to do it. So that's just me personally. That's how I would want to do
Yeah, I'm just curious how it works. Like if I just ask you to make something for my home collection, is that in trouble? Would you get in trouble for that? I don't know.
it.
Yeah.
If I was going to do it for you for free,
Oh,
I can't profit off somebody else's intellectual property right.
perfect,
So,
perfect. Yep.
yeah.
And I got good friends that are fashion lawyers and intellectual property lawyers, but I just don't understand just a one-off thing. I'm not putting it on a website or Etsy. It's just a one-off. I don't know.
Yes, but she's still making money off of it.
Yeah,
Charges you.
yeah.
Yeah,
I got
yeah,
it. I got it.
Yeah.
All right.
So
So
individual, like I could make anything I wanted for myself.
Mhm.
I could put it in my own personal display. There's, but I can't profit from it.
have you made some cool stuff for yourself? Like,
That's the funniest thing. In my head, I've made the most amazing things in my brain. I never seem to get around to doing it because any spare time, um, any extra time I have, I'm doing things for somebody else. Most of my art pieces are actually commissioned. So people will come to me and say, can you do X, Y, and Z? And the answer is always yes. I may not always necessarily know how I'm going to do it at the time. Most of the time I do. But like I said, I love to be challenged, and I live by the saying, there is no problem that there isn't a solution for. So whatever needs to be done, there's a way to do it. I just have to do the appropriate research and find out how to do it. And luckily, over the years of a lot of experimenting and finding out what works and what doesn't work, I now have a large skill set and a large sort of toolkit to pull from. So, most of the time, no matter what it is, I can figure out how to do it, or I know how to find the resources to do the parts that I can't.
you and Star sound just alike. Just say yes, and I'll figure it out later.
Yeah,
That's what.
yeah. My dad was the same way. That's how he got sucked into Batman. He's like, yeah, sure.
Wow. Wow.
Figure it out. Yeah. Wow.
I don't
Just
even know.
lead us on some great adventures.
I guarantee. I mean, it sounds like it. It sounds like it. So, how long were you living in Vegas?
So I moved to Vegas in 2013, and then I moved back here to Pennsylvania in 2021. So 8 years, 8.5 years.
So, does all of this still keep you busy full time?
Oh, yeah, no, I still have a lot of clients back in Vegas and friends back in Vegas, and we fly back and forth. And some things, small pieces I'll do here and ship them. Larger pieces, I'll fly out to Vegas and I'll do them out there. I now have clients in other states as well, so I fly to other states, to do the larger pieces there. So
What about like Comic-Con people? Do they reach out to you and just say, "Hey, make me something custom"? Do you have anybody private done something like that?
sometimes my thing is like, I am useless at advertising and promoting myself. I get pretty much 95% of my business is all either from word of mouth, usually Star's mouth, because he tells people about me, and that's how they find out about me. And it's been kind of like an organic ripple effect. Ray loves everything I do. I love working with Ray. He's a ton of fun, and he's always telling people about me. You know, and Bill Smith is another guy I've done a lot of stuff with. I just love Bill. We're really good friends, and he tells a lot of people about me, and Star tells people about me, and it kind of goes from there. So I've got to do a lot of really, really fun stuff.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So as far as like, I can't handle real blood like at all, but I can watch horror movies. I'm fine. There was only one horror movie that Natalie and I had to turn off.
Yeah.
And it was just psychological. I think it was like the modern day I Spit on Your Grave, but they literally sliced the lady's nipple and started eating it. And we're like, we're done. That was just too much. It was just too sexy.
Yeah,
It was too much.
It left nothing to the imagination. It was like, no.
And I know it's fake. I know it's fake.
Yeah.
I can't do it. It's too much. We never turn anything off.
No, we sit through some bad stuff.
Waiting for it to get better.
Yeah. But not that one. Not that one.
So is there anything like that freaks you out psychologically or ghosty or anything? Or do you like horror movies?
I love horror movies, but I prefer horror movies that have a really good story and good character development. Even though I can make all of the gory slasher stuff, slasher flicks aren't necessarily my thing unless they're done in a way that they're so ridiculous that they're humorous. And because obviously being an actor and being a filmmaker, I appreciate really good acting and really good cinematography. So it's sometimes harder for me to watch some of the stuff. The only thing that I really don't like is when something bad happens to either small children or old people. I don't know what it is about. I mean, as a mother, I know what it is about small children. I hate to see small children get hurt. And even again, you know it's fake, but it touches too close to home to me. And if I see an old man cry, that's it. I'm done. I'm butter. I'm just forget it.
I thought 100% you were going to say dog because that's her thing. That's
Any animals. If the animal gets hurt, I'm like, oh.
I am a little bit that way in animals too. I don't see as much of that as I see of the other stuff. So that didn't immediately pop into mind yet, but I don't like to see animals get hurt either.
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever there's a dog introduced in any kind of movie, action, adventure, or horror, she's like, that dog better not die.
Yeah.
I'm attached now. Yeah.
Well, I'm such an emotional movie watcher too, though. I mean, I will bawl my eyes out at movies, or I'm like on the edge of my seat like this, or when it's really so hot, like romantic thing, or really something. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like,
same, and he laughs at me. I'll be over there like boohooing, like, "Are you crying?" Bah, ha, ha. It's just me, like, shut up, I can feel it. It's like,
I don't just watch my movies; I feel my movies.
yes, empathetic impact.
I heard her sniffling at the new Squid Game, and I'm like, honey, what are you doing? She said, yeah, it's sad.
It's sad. He died.
Not really, honey. Not really.
I know, but it's a story.
I haven't seen it. Yeah, we have a Tuesday night movie night at where we live. So we have a lot of friends, and we all go to the movies together. So we all we'll suggest a movie, or sometimes we'll put it to a vote. And thankfully there's a lot to choose from, so we don't always get to see all of the movies. So the horror movies are usually the ones that get pushed off to the side, only because that's not what everybody else wants to see, you know. So but sometimes it's interesting to go and watch a movie that you don't necessarily think you're going to enjoy, and then you're pleasantly surprised. You know, you wouldn't necessarily choose to go see it, but then someone else ropes you into it, and it's like, yeah.
Some of the ones they hype up in the movies, you're so excited, you think it's going to be that good, and it never is.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember I got dragged to see Assassins with Antonio Banderas and Sylvester Stallone.
I remember that one.
I don't want to see hey, I'm going to kill you now. But I love that movie. I went in there with such low expectations that it's my favorite. I love that movie.
I did the same thing. I really liked that movie too. And there was the dynamic between the characters was really interesting in that. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, my buddy dragged me to it because I was like, I do not want. How is that going to work? You know, that's yeah. Golly. All right, so I don't even know where else to go. Tell me more about some of the other movies you've worked on. Really, we only heard about the movie you worked on about the Catwoman. So tell me about some more movies because you have 20.
So I did that. I did in my time when I was kind of like not actively pursuing acting, I did get a chance to be in a really, really cheesy low budget movie called Stockholm Syndrome. But that was kind of fun. I got to get thrown into a pit and set on fire in that one.
Oh, wow.
I ended up getting so deathly sick. We filmed that in Pennsylvania, and it was the middle of winter, and my character was pregnant. So I was wearing a dress, a big fake pregnancy belly, and I was covered in fake blood. And then in the end, I get thrown into this pit and covered in gasoline. Obviously, it was just water, and then set on fire. So I was soaking wet. It was snowing outside. It was so cold. We were in this old abandoned building that had no heating whatsoever. I don't think I've ever been as sick. I got MVP for that one. That was
Yeah. Goodness.
So when they set you on fire, was the stunt lady or so low budget you had to do the stunts as well?
I did my own stunts for that. But the fire was everything. It was practical effects, but the fire was the one thing that was a CGI effect. So yeah, so I just had to scream, and it was funny because the sound guy, he's got his boom, he's got his headphone, because obviously I couldn't be wearing a lav. He's leaning over this pit, and I screamed so loudly. He did this and almost fell into the pit with me.
Wow. Wow.
Oh,
So I'm looking at all these movies. Biker, I'm on your IMDb page. Bikers versus Werewolves. Is Star in that one with you?
He is, and I don't want to spoil it because that one's not come out yet, but I think that one's slated to come out at the beginning of next year. But he has a really cool scene in that one that I personally cannot wait to see. I got to work with Jake Busey in that one. That was fun. I think Michael Pare was in that one. Trying to think who else was in it. It had quite a large cast. Name of some of the other ones escape me now. But that was a lot of fun to do. We actually filmed that one in Nelson's ghost town outside of Vegas. And again, people think Vegas and think, oh, it's a desert, and think it's hot. It is freezing cold in the wintertime. Freezing. I guess it was me in cold movies. I don't know. But yeah, we were all shivering because a lot of those buildings, because of the age of them, you cannot have like gas and heated and kerosene heaters, and because of the power draw from all of the film equipment, there wasn't enough power to do electric heaters, and they wouldn't have done any good anyway because a lot of it was open-sided buildings. So yeah, so that was a cold one, but that was fun. And then another really fun one that should be out at I think it's coming out the end of this year, was Cursed Waters. So that's the pirate one, and I got to be a pirate, which, I mean, who doesn't have fun playing pirate? I mean, that was great.
Wow.
But to make it even cooler, I got to do my own stunts in that one. I got to do combat training with swords. So I worked with the trainer there to do that. And then I think I'm allowed to reveal publicly what happens to me, but I got to do a really cool stunt, and it was fun. So
That's awesome. She's got 11 movies in post-production.
Oh,
And
wow.
there's 12 movies completed, but it hasn't come out yet.
yeah, there's actually a 12th one that's not on there.
I got
think it is
Before Never is completed, but
Oh, yes, Before Never just switched to completed today. Now we've actually already seen the cut of that. So now I guess it's going into distribution. I haven't heard the latest, but I usually, anytime they update it, they send us an update too. So I'm waiting. I should be getting an email soon to say where that's sitting at. But I can't wait for people to see that one too. That's a really interesting one. It kind of takes a kind of darker twist on the Peter Pan story, about it kind of modernizes it, but it also is kind of a story kind of leading up to the fairy tale. And I play Mrs. Darling, and Wendy Darling's stepmother in this one. Yeah, that was fun.
is that one of those ones that's in public domain now? So they're making the horror movies after it? Is that what it is? Public domain?
No, I honestly don't know about that because that is not my side of things.
Yeah.
So I'm not fully aware. But I know that all of the appropriate licensing, whatever licensing needed to be done, was done for this movie. So that should be available soon. That should be
Well,
available. If it's to complete, it'll be available soon.
I know they made the Steamboat Willie scary movie. I haven't seen it yet, and they made a
Yeah.
Winnie the Pooh scary one that I haven't seen yet. So I'm thinking it must be among those lines of.
Yeah. So this one, rather than being a scary, it's more kind of like a psychological thriller. There's a couple of really interesting mind-bending twists in there. It's good.
Do you collect your movies that you've been in? Like, do you have the DVDs of all the movies that you've been in?
No, if I do actually, I have some of them. Eventually, I will. I feel like I should collect them all. Eventually, hand
Yeah.
them down to my children. But and a lot of them haven't even come out yet. And now, some of them come out just to streaming, and they don't always come out on DVD, or they go to streaming and they come out in DVD afterwards. Or some of them have done like a small theatrical release, or will be doing a small theatrical release. So that's what I'm really looking forward to is seeing myself on the big screen. So
Heck yeah.
that's fun. We've done some short films where we've seen the theatrical releases. That's always a bit of a trip.
That's awesome. So it says in your IMDb that you said you had to go back 20 years later and dub over yourself, which was weird. Do you like the voice dub stuff? You had several credits.
Voiceover work, yes, I enjoy doing that. The voice dubbing, that was difficult, particularly because when I filmed that, I was born and raised in England. I came over here and did the movie, but I had a very British accent. Well, I think it was probably about 15 or 16 years later when we did the voiceover work. My accent had completely changed because I'd been here for so long. I kind of localized and picked up a lot of Americanisms. Try asking somebody for a bin liner for a rubbish bin, and they have no idea what you're talking about. So I changed it to trash bag for a garbage can, and just little things like that. But when you make those changes and then you use them, you change. So I had to go back and revisit my proper British accent, and I'm probably even not doing that correctly. So that was very, very weird to try to recapture the original sound of my voice. But voiceover can be really fun, particularly if you're doing sort of animated stuff and you can kind of put sort of accents or sort of caricatures to your voice, and get to be a little bit creative that way.
Are you getting it before it's drawn, or are you watching it and trying to match it up? Are you seeing anything to work off of?
It all depends.
Okay.
Typically, we would get a script first, and the voiceover work is done first, and then the animators do the animation to the voice. But there's more than one way to skin a cat, and different filmmakers have a different approach. So.
Wow. What were you looking at? You were looking at her IMDb.
No, I was just looking at the movie you guys were talking about.
Oh,
yeah.
Did you get to see? You did the Penn and Teller Fool Us.
Yes.
Prop maker for that. Did you get to see the episode where your prop is in? Or are you allowed to say what?
I did. I did get to see it. Yeah. And actually, I think it was Penn said on camera that was one of the best fake hands he'd ever seen, and I just beamed with pride because I love doing hyper realistic body part replicas. I really prefer the hyper realistic stuff rather than the abstract. Although I can do abstract stuff is really fun to do. It's very, very freeing. But there's a certain sense of pride when you really nail a hyper realistic piece. So.
Wow.
Awesome.
So give me an idea of not hyper realistic, the opposite of that. You just said it. Give me an idea.
Abstract.
Yeah, give me an idea of what abstract would be. Like an alien hand? Is that abstract? No.
Well, no, not really, because obviously you're trying to make it look like something. Abstract is more when, and usually it's done, and sometimes it's done with sculpture as well. I don't get to do a whole lot of it, but I've done a lot of it, in paintings in the past, where the imagery isn't necessarily recognizable as an object per se, but is open to interpretation. Abstract art often reflects mood or thought as opposed to physical representation. So
it's been a while since art school. I was putting abstract to body parts. I was trying to make that work. Thank you.
I mean, if you took a cubist representation, then that would be abstract. So if
right.
Instead of a proper hand, you had a square, and then just sort of rectangles, or I would say cubes, and sort of various just simple shapes, or you could create it out of bubbles or something like that. That would be more abstract.
I'm sitting here playing on your IMDb. I just found Stockholm Syndrome. Came out in 2008. I need to see this now. I need to see all of these. I want to. So
It falls into the I mean, bear in mind it was micro budget, so there wasn't much to work with. It falls into the slasher sort of that kind of genre of horror movie. Go for the sake of gore, shock for the sake of shock kind of stuff. So
that's okay though. That's okay. We love it all. We love it all. So what are you working on now? I don't know, because NDAs and other things. Are you allowed to say anything you have coming up in the future, or projects? Or I'm filming a movie right now. I'm focusing on this.
well, we actually just got done wrapping a movie. It was a short film called Stories, which is it's a really cool concept, and kind of centers around these mobsters that get. It starts off seeming like it's going to be a sort of highly intense mobster movie, and kind of switches gears on you and becomes more of a ghost story. It's really kind of cool. So we just wrapped on that. Actually, Star was on a film set this morning. I was doing other things, but he was on a set this morning. We constantly have like little things come up. I have a big project out in Portland coming up that I'll be going out, and I don't know how much I can say about that one. I honestly don't have the full list of all the things I'm going to be working on yet. But that's for a really cool magic show that should be coming out. I'm not sure when the release date is, but it's a crazy cool show that combines like circus elements and magic and sort of Broadway theatrics. I mean, it's going to be fantastic. So that's going to be fun. We've got a fashion show coming up. I think we're going to Paris in October. We actually have another movie that we really wanted to do, but we've had to turn it down because of scheduling conflicts. And that happens a lot. We get a lot of opportunities that come up, but we have to turn them down because of scheduling conflicts. And anytime we think, oh wow, we've got 2 months ahead of us that don't have much on the calendar, by the time we get there, the calendar's full. So
Wow.
yeah, I need to. I know I have some other stuff that already waiting for me in Vegas that I need to get back out to Vegas to work on. So yeah,
I need pictures of all these different things you've done for Cirque and things that I can put with the podcast group here.
Yeah, because anything that has already been previously published, I can share with you.
Please.
Anything that I have in my collection that has not been published, I cannot share.
I get
So
it.
yeah,
Yep.
but I'll try to get around to getting some things over to you.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. So you can't say. I don't know what to ask, because I want to ask about upcoming projects.
Well, you can ask, and then I can tell you if I can talk about it.
So is there ongoing shows that are using your props now in Vegas that we would know? Can you say the show?
I will be honest. A lot of the times when I do a piece, first of all, I don't always know who the end user is, who the magician is for, so I don't know if it's actively in a show. I know that my props are out there in shows, but I'm not 100% which ones, because very often somebody else contracts me to do the scenic part of a piece that they're fabricating, and then it goes on. And gosh,
I Ray hired you for that.
Questions, but I don't know what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say. So,
Right.
But I mean, there are a couple of shows out there that do have some of my stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
Our mutual friend Ray Lum, who's the illusion builder. I mean, I can see him building something to ship out to somebody, but he needs you to sculpt a piece for it.
Yeah.
I can.
And I do, and his stuff I can talk about because he posts it publicly.
Right.
So,
right.
So I got to do one of the things I did for him was a really cool. It's like a brick wall where, oh, what is that called? See, because I focus on the art, and I love magic, but I also like the mystery of magic. So I try not to find out how things are done. You know what I mean? I want to keep that illusion, and I'm hopeless with remembering the names of things. But I had to create this. It looked like a chunk of sidewalk that had been broken off with this brick wall coming out. And that was a ton of fun. So that was like carving in foam and hard coating and painting, I did that outside in the winter in Vegas in the cold.
There's a theme there.
Nobody hates the cold, but and it's funny because a lot of the materials that I use are temperature sensitive. So if I'm using like a two-part epoxy resin, it's going to kick off like that when it's really hot. And it's going to take forever to cure, when it's really cold. So it's almost I almost have to be a chemist as well as an artist to try to figure out, the best methods and the best materials to use for certain projects depending on the time. And it was funny, I just did a live cast for Ray, but this time it was in the summertime, and it was so hot that the silicone I was using, it's a skin safe silicone. It's called Body Double Silk. Love it as a product. But you normally have it's like 15 minutes, I think, working time, to put it on and smooth it out before it starts to kick and you can do the next layer. And it's started to set up in the cup after only 2 minutes, and I hadn't even got halfway through its normal pot life, I'm like, okay, time to adjust, sometimes you got to think on your feet. But yeah, I've done some cool stuff for Ray. Probably one of the coolest things I recently did for him, and again he posted it, so I can talk about it. Was a silicone mask, which is based on uh, a video game character. And I say based on. And again, it was a one-off. And he got to wear it. It was for a cosplay costume, and he got to wear it. And he had this amazing costume done to complete the look. You'll see it on his socials. You've probably seen the actual pieces.
I've already seen it. I've already seen it.
Yeah.
So you just made the mask. You didn't make the costume.
I didn't make all of the costume. No, actually, Ray himself made some of the costume pieces. I know he had somebody else work on some of the pieces that he couldn't do, and then my focus was on the mask.
Wow.
And I actually, when I did that mask, that was before I'd done the life cast. I did not have a life cast of him, so I sent him a chart with everywhere on his head that I needed him to take measurements, and he took measurements and then filled out the chart and sent it back to me. So then, based on those measurements, I created a sculpture of Ray's head so that I would have a core on which to make the mask from. Because the difference between a latex mask and a silicone mask, with latex, you have a stone mold, you slush the latex around a couple of times to build up the layers, and you can create a fairly even thickness the whole way around. With silicone, it doesn't work that way, because instead of sucking the moisture out of silicone, it's a two-part curing process. So you have to have an internal mold and then an external mold, and you're basically filling in the gap in between. Mask on the inside of the mask was shaped like Ray's head. So it was a very, very long process. It kind of took months to do, and sort of a few hours one day, a few hours another day. So I did the sculpt, then I had to make a mold of that, then a cast of that. So I had a resin bust. That then became my inner mold. And then I did another sculpt of the actual character on that, made another mold, a multi-part mold from that, which then was gravity fed, and it had little bleeder points to it so that it would fill up without any air bubbles. And then it goes to the painting, and then the hair attachment, and all of the hair that, so his eyebrows all around the hairline, the beard and everything, that's all hand punched into the silicone.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
very time consuming.
I don't know if I've ever heard of somebody getting measurements to make a sculpture out of. That sounds like that's a million times harder than just doing the cast mold of his face.
Nowadays, obviously, the life cast is the way to go. And the other thing that you can do is you can actually take a digital scan and do a 3D print of someone's head. But believe it or not, Madame Tussauds, all of their wax figures, now they may have changed it now. They may be doing digital scans, but to my knowledge, they still continue the old method of doing everything by hand, by meticulous measurements, because they actually sculpt it in the wax. Yeah,
Wow.
if you ever watch any of the documentaries on how they make their figures, it's I mean the artists they have working there are unbelievable.
I can't imagine. Like I'm
Right?
thinking about like a nostril. How do you get a measurement of width and nostril? Because you're doing
It's
a
di- it's difficult. The best way to do it is to have a really good set of calipers. They kind of look like this, and so you kind of put the calipers here, and then you pull them apart, and then you take the measurement. And some of the more advanced ones actually have little gadgets sticking off of them that do the measurements for you. But the one that is the absolute hardest to get, it's from the eyeball to the back of the head. And because obviously the back of the head is curved and you can't exactly stick a caliper on your eyeball. So that's a tricky one. But
Hmm.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. This
That's
is
neat.
awesome. You are awesome, girl. I love it.
yeah.
It's not just a pretty face. There's a lot more to it.
Can you tell though that I love my jobs, all of them, and that's I think what makes anybody successful at anything they do is if they really love what they do. I love what I do.
Well, and like I said, I've been following you on Facebook, and you're at F1 races, you're in Mulan, you're here, you're there, you're in Vegas, you're at
Yeah.
Magic conventions.
And believe it or not, that's only what you see on Facebook is only a fraction of what we do because we're so busy that we never have time. And by the time we think, oh, we should do this post, we get round to it. That event happened a couple of weeks ago, and we've already got like three more things in between that we need to post about. So it's like,
And with NDA and pre-production stuff, you can't talk about it.
yeah,
Art pictures there.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I actually have a Facebook page that was supposed to be for my art. And I never post on it. One of these days I will catch up. I need to catch up on my Instagram too because I'm useless at it. In fact, Star's much better at it than I am, and then I just kind of share whatever he posts. But pretty soon, one of these days, I will have my website up. I have my domain name. I'm gonna get my website up, and then you'll be able to see a lot of the fun stuff.
So what is your I got your IMDb. What is your Instagram? I want to find it.
Everything is just Lisa Barrett-Brown.
Perfect. Enough.
The name of my company is Royal Artifacts. So that's Royal Art FX. And the email for that is just royalartifacts@gmail.com. So that's how people can contact me if they want me to do any work for them, any props or things like that. Or they can message me on Messenger or something like that. And obviously if someone asks, then feel free to. I won't give out my phone number publicly, but if you need to, you can pass my phone.
So do you take pictures on set and then like for your own thing and then put them up after the movie's released, or that's just a no? What is that?
It depends on the set. So many sets, particularly the bigger budget ones, particularly if you're doing anything that's union of any kind, you're not supposed to have your phone even on you, never mind take photographs. Some of the more independent movies, they actually encourage you to bring your phones and take photos, but they say, first of all, you can never be a disruption to what's going on. You must maintain, professionality at all times. And then you're not allowed to reveal anything, no spoilers, anything like that. Obviously, certain celebrities you even if you have permission to post what they call BTS pictures, you can't post of a celebrity unless the celebrity says, yeah, it's okay. So the rules are different for anything. So at some point, I do actually have an awful lot of behind the scenes photos that I'm dying to share. That I will, but I'll wait till the movie comes out and then I'll use those to promote. Say sometimes I can here and there. And when I discipline myself to get better with my socials, I will. So if you guys follow
Well,
through, you'll actually start to see some pretty cool stuff because we do have a lot to put out there.
well, I want this coffee table book of your art. Behind
Okay.
behind the scenes movie book sounds great to me too. I need you to put these out. Come on. Are we gonna see you? Are we gonna see you guys at MAES this year? Is that on your list?
When is it? What's the date for that? I live by my phone calendar and he has his date book and it's like I'm not sure. Maybe if we can make it, if we can, I'd love to. Really
5,
love to.
6, 7 of September, I do believe.
Okay, that sounds promising.
Good. We'll see you guys then.
All
Lisa,
right.
this time has flown by. Thank you
I
so much.
know, right? I can't believe an hour is up already.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. My caffeine level finally settled down a little bit. I feel like I'm a human again. Thank you for doing this. This was awesome. You're awesome.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. I appreciate the compliments. This was a really fun. Thank you, both of you.
I'm going to find your Instagram and I'm going to start stalking it. I want to see all these behind the scenes stuff. I'm going to check it out. You're awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The only thing left to say is see you next week.
Check us out online at wesiseli.com and patreon.com/Wes_Iseli for behind-the-scenes videos, blooper videos, never-before-seen footage, discounts on merchandise, magic trick tutorials, and more. That's Wes Iseli, spelled Wesiseli.